So good to see you all here. I will be your host. My name is Susana Fernandez, and today we are going to talk about how to maximize your settlement value with our special guest, Elizabeth Hovanesian. So about Elizabeth, she's a personal injury law guru with more than 5 years of legal experience, and is currently a third-year law student. At a young age, Elizabeth started off by working at a law firm that had various departments such as personal injury, workers' compensation, and criminal and litigation departments. So, without further ado, the demand writing department director, Elizabeth Hovanesian.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today.
How you doing, Liz?
I'm doing well, Susanna. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking too. I really like your jacket.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, yep. Thank you so much for being here with us. And well, off to a good start.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Susanna. And thank you for having me here today. And thank you, attorneys, for joining. I know you guys are really busy with your, settling cases, with your motions and dealing with your clients. We are very excited to talk to you guys today about how to maximize your settlements and how we can help you in doing that.
Right. So looking forward to the rest of our webinar for sure. But before starting, I'd like to address who we are and why you should even be listening to me in the first place. So, Legal Sub Solution is the nation's largest virtual staffing company for law firms and have placed over 1,000 virtual assistants to date. We currently work with over 600 law firms and have offices in 8 countries and proudly serve over 12 practice areas. To put what our company does in the simplest of terms, we offer attorneys, such as yourselves, business solutions and services to help in growing and scaling your law firm. You may ask, how do we do this? Well, we offer different solutions starting from virtual staffing, social media management, website development, lead generation, and a whole bunch more. So for the lack of better terms, we are like the candy shop for attorneys. We have so many candies to choose from, right, Elizabeth?
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you.
All right, then. Today, we will be sharing with you 3 things that can help you with the process of maximizing your firm's settlements. So, number 1, we will discuss when to know you need a demand writer. Number 2, how to effectively leverage a demand writer. And 3, some of the best tips and tricks of hiring a virtual assistant. So, moving on. Elizabeth, why don't you tell us, why are we here?
Well, that is a very good question, Susanna. And to answer your question, you are here because number 1, you do have some backlogs in demand. Number 2, you do have staffing difficulties. Or even number 3, you have a lot of tedious management that you absolutely hate dealing with. So most of you have a problem with one of these 3 things. Now that we know the problem, let's actually talk about the solution. So how do you solve these problems? Well, for starters, you start off by streamlining the process. If you have a good foundation and a good process, then it'll help you in terms of your settlement turnaround time. The more efficiently you can build your cases and get the demands out, the quicker you'll be able to start the discussion of settlement, and we'll be able to figure out the next steps in your cases.
Now, Elizabeth, where do we come in the picture?
Well, Susanna, thank you for asking. We have developed a state-of-the-art pay-per demand subscription model where you provide us with the documents that are needed to write a demand, for example, the intake, medical special records, bills, and things like that. And our demand writers write them and send it back to you. We basically are taking the whole mundane task of writing the demands away from the attorneys and giving them an affordable solution that they can go ahead and focus on more important things and tasks.
Right. So Liz, is there a limit to how many demands a firm can request?
No, there's no limit. However, if a firm is requesting, let's say, more than 15 demands a month, we recommend at that point to actually hire one of our full-time virtual assistant demand writers that work exclusively for the firm.
Okay, virtual assistant, that sounds super interesting. How does that work?
Sure. So that's actually the second thing that we've done, which we are primarily known for, is our demand writer virtual assistants, where you can get a full-time demand writer that works exclusively for your firm and that can help you with writing demands. This demand writer is trained by me and my team to ensure the success within the firm.
All right. Well, that sounds quite helpful, actually. I'm sure if I had a law
Yeah.
firm, I would recommend 10 out of 10.
Yes, it is actually quite helpful. There are many benefits to having a full-time demand writer.
Yes, I can see that. I mean, it sounds great. I would like to learn more about these benefits. Like,
Sure, of
how
course.
does it benefit me?
Sure. So of course, so a few benefits of having a virtual assistant demand writer would be number one, it is cost effective. You don't have to worry about things like the HMO benefits, the retention, the taxes, all these things you normally would with, someone in-house as an in-house staff. And this helps in the terms of saving a lot of money with overhead costs. Number two, it does increase efficiency. This allows basically the law firms to scale up or down depending on their workload. So for example, if you are a smaller firm and you have, let's say, 10 demands a month that you are sending out, you can get one of our subscriptions that's 10 demands a month for a low rate of $5.97. So as we are helping you in terms of clearing your backlog, you can additionally, let's say, get a case manager, virtual assistant, who is primarily focusing on pushing your cases forward. And next thing you know, you have more demands because now the cases are being managed by your case manager who's pushing these cases forward. And you're thinking about, okay, now it's time to get a virtual assistant demand writer.
That's amazing. So what kind of skills can we expect from one of our VA demand writers, and how can they help in maximizing cases for settlement?
That's actually a really good question. So the demand writer virtual assistants that we offer have experience and skill within their respective country. And I'll give you a very, a close example. For example, my own personal demand writer assistant, she is a virtual assistant and she is an attorney within her country of Ecuador. And she has written demands for various states like California, Texas, Georgia, Arizona, and a whole bunch of other states as well. So that's in terms of the specialized skill. And then in terms of maximizing the cases for settlement, demand writer virtual assistant doesn't necessarily have to just, let's say, write demands. They can also do different things. For example, in a personal injury case, they can collect the medical records, the bills, make a medical chronology sheet. They can go ahead and ensure, the insurance companies are presenting offers in time by meeting the deadlines of the demand. Another example, not only just personal injury, but for example, employment and workers' compensation law. They can similarly, let's say, create a timeline of events that occurred that led to a violation, whether it be with the employer or a worker. They can also follow up with the clients and collect documents such as, let's say, lost wages documents that are needed.
Oh, so how does the virtual staffing department ensure the security and confidentiality of sensitive settlement information?
So that's actually one of the most commonly asked questions, amongst the attorneys. And to answer that, number one, the virtual assistants do sign a contract with us prior to being deployed with the firm. Basically, they're acknowledging that if they were to do any criminal illegal activity, they will face criminal charges. Number two, we do have representation in other countries that we do source these candidates from. So therefore, if anything does happen, we will, prosecute them, which will result in, for example, an attorney being disbarred or jailed within their respective countries. So thus far, just to know, we haven't had to deal with anything like this. And we do have a system in place that literally tracks every single thing that these virtual assistants do. So for example, we do take screenshots of their computer screens. So we do see if they're actually working or if they're on Netflix or YouTube, for example.
Nice. And how does virtual staffing solutions integrate with existing settlement systems and processes?
So remember, we're not actually trying to have you get rid of your in-house staff. That's not what we're doing here at all. We're actually trying to have these virtual assistants basically be an addition to the firm and help scale and grow the firm. So how do we do this? The virtual assistants can, use automation tools in terms of streamlining. So for example, using programs to help them look at laws, regulations from different states that apply in different states. They can even use automation tools to process and store data and make it easily accessible. So it helps them in terms of completing different tasks as well.
I understand. Well, that sounds too good to be true, but guess what? It's not. An example of this is the following case.
Yes. So Matthew T. Is the founder of a very prestigious law firm in California that ended up basically buying more than, let's say, just one demand writer from us. He basically automated his entire system, A through Z, from the minute the intake comes in to the minute the demand is sent out. He cut his backlog of demands in half in a short period of time. He didn't only, let's say, hire a demand writer. He also went ahead and spent more money in terms of getting a case manager in different positions within the firm. So he increased his caseload, and having more of an efficient system and foundation helped him in terms of, processing his cases faster.
All right, clear as water. Now let's talk about numbers. How much would it be?
Sure. So the subscription model that we have in terms of the demands, for example, up to 5 demands a month, it would be $325. Up to 10 demands a month, as you guys can see, it would be $597, and up to 15, it would be $825. Anything more than that, as we mentioned previously, it's better to get a virtual assistant demand writer that works full-time for your firm, and it's going to be $2,897 a month. So you're not locked in for a specific term, as it is a month-to-month fixed charge, so a fixed fee.
Okay. And if I want to hire my own demand writer right now, what should I do?
Sure. So number one, first, actually take the first step. So actually call us. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it more in detail. You're more than welcome to ask for myself. My name is Elizabeth. Or you can talk to any of my other colleagues. They'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And number two, once you've actually taken that initial step and, called us, we'll go ahead and present you with some candidates. And number three, you get to pick the perfect employee, because obviously this is going to be someone that's going to be the face of your firm. You want to know that they're going to mesh well with your firm. And it's just like hiring someone in-house, however, it's virtual. So it looks like we do have a few questions in terms of the demand writing. So number one individual asked, can you address the confidentiality issues? How do you protect confidential information? In terms of HIPAA issues. So as previously mentioned, they do sign contracts with us. If you, let's say, want them to sign a non-disclosure agreement, we're more than welcome to also have them do a non-disclosure agreement as well. So just the same way that you would have someone working, in your firm, in terms of HIPAA and things of that nature, it would be the same process pretty much. And then there was another question of which countries are these virtual assistants hired from. These virtual assistants are hired from we source them from the Philippines, we source them from Mexico, Nicaragua, that part of the world. So if it's an English-speaking candidate, it's going to be from the Philippines. If it's someone that speaks bilingual, it would be from, let's say, Mexico or Nicaragua and that part of the world. And another question we have here is, how long does it take to hire a virtual assistant demand writer? It's actually a pretty fast turnaround time. So for example, if you were to tell me, hey, Liz, you know what? I want to get a virtual assistant demand writer. Today you sign a contract. Then by next week, we're going to go ahead and we're going to have some candidates already available to you. We're going to source them. We're going to find them. We're going to go ahead and present it to you. If not by the middle of the week, by the end of the week. And then we have a couple more questions. How do demand writer virtual assistants obtain ADLs from the client without access to our case management system? Can we see sample of your demands? In terms of sample of demands, of course, I'll be more than happily send them to you. And just something you should know in terms of the demands, we do have an option where attorney can present, let's say, their template, and we write it on their template as well, because I know every firm is different. Every firm has a different way of going about things. For example, there's one firm I do have right now that we're working with where they have 20-page demand. So they don't want to use our 5-page simple policy limit demand, but yes, we can definitely send it to you. And your other question was, how do the demand writers obtain ADLs from clients without access to our case management software? Now, if you're getting a virtual assistant, they will have access to your case management software, whether it be CasePeer, FileVine, Clio, whatever it is, because this is someone that is going to be working full-time for your firm. So once we go ahead and, decide what type of virtual assistant you're going to be moving forward with, whether it be, let's say, an intake specialist, case manager, demand writer, whoever it is. We'll go ahead and train them, let's say, on your case management software system, as well as your phone system. So for example, if you have Ring Central Vonage as a phone system, we're going to help in terms of the technical setup, where we're going to ensure that this individual is going to be able to go ahead and access your phone, along with the case management software as well. So you make a user, you give us the credentials, we help you with the technical setup part of it. And then another question was, does a bilingual assistant cost more? So it depends on terms of what position you're looking for your firm. If you're looking for a demand writer, bilingual or English, it's the same cost, which is the 2,897 a month. And again, all of these virtual staffing options, they're 40 hours a week. So they're exclusively working for your firm full time, as you would basically hire someone in-house. However, it is virtual. And depending on the position, for example, intake specialist, it might be $197 more if it's bilingual. And then I'm a little confused how case managers work virtually. So, okay. So to answer this question, I would want to actually ask you more in depth. What is it exactly that you're confused about in terms of a case manager working virtually? If you don't mind, giving me a better way of, I guess, explaining me that. Because, for example, if you do have access to your phone system and you do have access to your case management software, I don't see why it would be an issue in terms of a case manager working virtually, especially given that, for example, when COVID happened, a lot of the firms were closed and people were working virtually already. So, for example, if you have CasePeer or My Case or FileVine, you can always access that from your computer. And same with the phone systems. You can go ahead and log in on your computer in terms of a user profile, and you can go ahead and make calls. But please, if it is confusing, please do ask me in terms of what you mean exactly, so we can answer it. And then, do you guys have any other kind of virtual assistants besides demand writers? Yes, we do. We have paralegal virtual assistants, remote attorneys, we have intake staff, we have case managers, basically everything that you would need in terms of working up a case from the beginning, where there's leads being answered and calls being made, all the way until when you're trying to send a demand out to settle the case. Another question: what if I no longer want to work with my virtual assistant? Do you guys replace them? Yes, of course we replace them, and replacement is a guarantee. And the only thing we say is we ask in advance, please go ahead and give us notice before you do decide to officially replace your virtual assistant, so we don't mess up your workflow, and we'll be able to source for more candidates and present you with more candidates. So yeah, at any point in time, let's say if you're not happy and you want to replace them, you definitely could. One thing I do stress is, before you just get up and say, you know what, I don't want my virtual assistant anymore, actually try to find a solution. Don't just say, okay, I'm just done with this. Don't do that. Actually try to figure out what the problem is. Like I mentioned, we do track things in terms of, the key performance indicators and things of that nature. So we can always work hand in hand in terms of coming up with a solution to, make sure that you're happy with your virtual assistant, rather than just getting up and replacing them. But if you needed to replace them, yes, we definitely would replace it. And then, what is the turnaround time for demands? To let you know, in terms of the turnaround time, let's say, for example, on a Monday, you decide that you want to move forward with getting a subscription from us. Monday, you signed the contract. Monday, we share a Google Link Drive folder with you where you would upload all of these documents. And within 24 to 48 hours of us receiving these documents, once you notify us via email, hey Liz, you know what, I just uploaded the documents for demand number 1, for example. We would go ahead and have my demand writer within 24 to 48 hours, she would write the demand. Then she would send you the initial draft. So Monday you upload everything, by Wednesday, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna have your initial draft. So once you get your initial draft on Wednesday, I urge that within 72 hours, please review it. Let us know if you need anything changed, whether it be, the settlement language or even the font, for example. If you need it changed, let us know and we'll change it for you. You have up to 2 revisions. So by Friday, you should have your demand. So let's say if you upload 5 demands on Monday, by Wednesday, you're getting 5 initial drafts. And hopefully by the end of the week on Friday, you're going to have them initially done. If we don't hear back from you within the 72-hour period, we're going to assume everything was okay, everything was fine, and you already sent it out to the insurance company or to the defense attorney or whoever in terms of whatever, practice area that you're dealing with. And then another question that we have, what if they aren't working out well? Can you explain the process? As I previously did mention, you are more than welcome to replace your virtual assistants, but the goal is not to just sell you a virtual assistant. The whole goal is to ensure that this is someone that's gonna, work for your firm, a part of your firm, with your firm, and is gonna help you in terms of actually scaling your business and actually growing your business and basically being a good team member. So it's an addition to your firm. So if you would be getting a client success manager assigned to your account, pretty much, and this would be your main point of contact. So let's say Billy is your client success manager, and you're not happy with your virtual assistant. You can reach out to Billy and you can say, hey, Billy, you know what? I think this individual needs more training, or I think that they need more help in terms of this area and whatnot. We will provide more training should additional training be needed. We're not just going to give you this virtual assistant and then just disappear. It's not like that. That's not how we work. The whole goal is for us to work hand in hand, take care of the business side while you focus on the legal part of it. And I hope that answered all of your questions. If you guys have more questions, please, I'm free to have a discussion. In terms of another one, what is the minimum level of English proficiency? We do come across, candidates that are very, very, very proficient in English, where you wouldn't even know that they are from, Mexico or the Philippines. However, to be reasonable, I'm not going to promise you the moon and the stars. They do have some accents, some of the candidates, but they are well, and we can always provide writing samples. So for example, if you want to get a demand writer virtual assistant, we can provide you with a writing sample of what they've already done, for example, whether it be working for another firm, working for another practice area, whether it be even customer service or anything that they have previously done. We can go ahead and provide it to you so you can take a look at it prior to deciding.
Right, perfect. Well, remember, you can book a call using the link in the chat. So there, if there's no other questions, awesome. Contact us now to schedule your consultation. Together, we can take your business to the next level.
Thank you, Susanna.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.